Welcome to another edition of When the Spirit Takes Over. Here we analyze aspects of human consciousness which appears to exist outside the familiar constraints of time and space, a potential of spirit which appears to take over as we cross from one realm into another. It is clear that throughout human history, many cultures, societies, and individuals have mastered the art of transcending the limited constraints of their earthly bodies to view and even interact with other versions or dimensions of reality. Whether this is down to evolution or the intended consequence of God's creation of man, our limited sensory perception only allows a measured and restricted experience within a modest framework of time. The inquisitive desire to look outside ourselves into alternative layers of divine consciousness has been with us since man first looked up towards the heavens and saw the scale of infinite potential offered even by his own limited viewpoint. This earthly physical plane appears to be the middle ground between what many consider as heaven and hell. At one extreme, a world of divine light, and at the other, a godless underworld devoid of anything which the light has to offer. These two perceived extremities seem to collide in this material world, a battleground offering each individual the opportunity to experience almost limitless variations of both extremes in order to evolve their own conscious development, each deciding how far their free will wishes to take them in either direction. This is essentially a cosmic version of the Hegelian dialectic, with the thesis, heaven, an antithesis, the underworld, and a synthesis, our conscious development through life's experience. In this dialectic, while aspects of divine light devolve down into matter upon this earth, various expressions of anti-divine energy are evolving upwards, manifesting in the form of malevolent energies and entities eager to promote godless characteristics associated with the underworld. And over time, these energies grow more sophisticated as they interact and oppose divine consciousness here upon this earth. In order for the overall development of consciousness to experience an almost unlimited amount of options, the earth and the universe must be under some form of constant change, a mechanism of change which is variable enough to fulfill a variety of experiences, but stable enough to allow the continuity of life to continue. The zodiac clock of the great year, offering 12 ages or epochs, each 2,160 years long, is a possible explanation and insight into how this balancing act of change can manifest, giving tremendous opportunity for varying cosmic energies to influence human consciousness over time. At this present time, we find ourselves in the grip of unprecedented global change not witnessed before on such a huge scale. It could all be part of the grand design. The cosmic clock moving from the old Piscean epoch into the new age of Aquarius. Saturn, the ruling planet of this new epoch, has the potential to promote and increase the activity and influence of entities and their representatives from lower realms, evolving upwards to impose satanic energies of controlling restrictions upon humanity for the next 2 epochs. The logic behind this observation comes from the characteristic expression of the planetary glyph associated with Saturn, which is the cross of the materium over the crescent of spirituality. This represents the order of priority where material matters take precedence over spiritual ones. This new arrangement of cosmic influence, although subtle, could promote the ascension and involvement of some rather dark entities into our reality. Prior to this transition, Jupiter ruled the previous age of Pisces, the age of belief, where spiritual matters took precedence over material ones. It was an age where spiritual energy and higher levels of consciousness devolved from the heavens to interact with our physical reality. It was a time of religious and spiritual expansion when Jesus and Muhammad entered the picture, promoting their unique expressions of spiritual concepts. Now the opposite is the case. It is the age of knowing, where the control system will be moving full steam ahead to impose its satanic grip over the whole of humanity. This energetic change is subtle. However, if humanity as a whole sits back and willfully does nothing to counteract satanic energy, their lives will reflect this backdrop. But if they unite in pockets of resistance, focusing on higher levels of spiritual consciousness, their righteous intent and will as a collective could tip the balance of light in their favor, offering a more optimistic future for their offspring. Added to this mix is the planet Uranus, occupying shared rulership for the first 1,000 years. This is the planet of new technology, revolution, and independence. However, being an outer planet not visible to the naked eye, its influence is primarily concerned with the subconscious. And although it will promote feelings and emotions of rebellion and independence, the rulers over the material realm will utilize this new technology to dilute and restrict certain undesirable aspects of Uranus's energy from manifesting and disrupting the world which they are trying to manipulate and control. This new world created by satanic forces is likely to be genetically modified and geoengineered to restrict spiritual light while promoting dark and sinister objectives. The whole epoch will be a 180-degree paradigm shift focusing on material matters. The entities which at the moment largely inhabit lower realms may try to interface with humanity by transforming our natural biology towards a more artificially based humanoid, pulling us away from the presence of divine light and limitless potential into a hellish world of automated and mechanized godlessness. If this is all part of the divine cycle of ages, then we ultimately should have nothing to fear, as it is part of humanity's inevitable cycle to experience this reality from alternative profound perspectives. And as we reincarnate back into this realm sometime in the future to face new challenges, it should ultimately turn out as the Creator intended. Jupiter will once more rule the heavens 4,300 years from now, when we enter the age of Sagittarius. This is essentially the second coming of Jupiter Zeus, when the optimistic and spiritual characteristics of this enormous planet will once again dominate the age with its spiritual and optimistic disposition. The Buddha tamed the Naga. Jesus and Muhammad suppressed sinister and satanic forces in their day, setting a precedent, showing us that it is possible to have dominion over the physical space which people and communities occupy. However, during this new epoch, it will be more difficult than it was before to free ourselves from the impositions of the control system. Therefore, it is up to us individually to decide how much of the light or darkness we allow into our lives. Furthermore, those who appreciate the concept of reincarnation should not fear the future, as the cycle of life goes through inevitable changes which, overall, are part of the big plan. For this reason, life should be lived and enjoyed with free-spirited optimism, and not taken as seriously as some would like to make it. Being aware of the immortality of the spirit goes some way into helping us walk through life with a more jovial approach. where we can truly focus on the immediate moment, as opposed to being regretful of past events or worried about the future. Living in the now is what we came here to experience, and only by doing this can we truly fulfill our karmic destiny, which will ultimately lead us back into higher states of consciousness. Many people live in fear for one reason or another. They fear death, they fear poverty, they fear illness. There are no limits to the array of potential fears offered, especially by those running the control system. In order to overcome these fears, one must release this anxiety and realize that death is part of the living process and is something which we all came here to experience. The result of this process takes our conscious attention out into other realities, liberating the awareness from trauma associated with this present life. No matter in which realm you find yourself in next, the light at the center of creation is always there to lift you up if you so desire. As we are all on unique individual paths of karmic development, to judge others by your own standards is pointless. The control system will try to pull the majority of people into underpinning and promoting their version of the future, as opposed to allowing those people to blossom under their own intuition and to live a life which gives them freedom and options. Mythology teaches us that if any control system oversteps its remit by uniting humanity under an all-encompassing one-size-fits-all arrangement, Creator consciousness intervenes with its own divine reset, allowing the spectrum of natural diversity to manifest once more. This is exactly what happened in the Tower of Babel narrative. A united humanity in the generations following the Great Flood, speaking a single language and migrating westward, comes to the land of Shinar. There they agree to build a city and a tower tall enough to reach heaven. God, observing their city and tower, confounds their speech so that they can no longer understand each other, and scattered them around the world. The Bible tells us that some form of barrier was placed between the earth and heaven in order to keep the sanctity and unique qualities of the higher realms from penetrating too much into the lower ones. This appears to corroborate the visions and sensations of those who have had near-death experiences, recollections of going through dark tunnels to emerge at the other end into a world of light. Then God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." Thus God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven. So the evening and the morning were the second day. Genesis 1. The universe appears to have its own built-in mechanism for resetting the earth through the unpredictable appearance of comets. No matter how advanced humanity becomes, or how far entities from the underworld infest this earthly realm, cosmic forces out of our control can, at any time, smash their way through our atmosphere, sending the earth and all its inhabitants back to the Stone Age, keeping the natural cycle of rising and falling civilizations ongoing. When a person no longer resonates with their own unique song, unable or unwilling to live a life according to one's own moral compass, instead conforming to the requirements of others, they are essentially sacrificing their own unique potential to fit in with a choir whose conductor has motives of his own. The vast majority of people avoid walking a path towards fulfilling their personal destiny, opting instead to sell their dreams for security, as social expectations pen them in from breaking free to discover who they really are and what they truly came here for. Life is a journey of risks, and those who sit back frightened of taking any chances have already died inside. Within this earthly battleground, a fight between light and dark forces, each one of us moves one step closer towards their own physical deaths. I would suggest that those people who choose to ignore and suppress their deep intuitive calling in life, begging them into exploring their own unique qualities, are not fully awake and are not truly living. They say only the good die young. Maybe there is some truth in this, for the majority of people trapped throughout the world within the web of the control system are on average living longer whilst being caught within the monotony of mundane repetition, with many possibly not having yet fulfilled their purpose for coming here. Their advancing years present the opportunity of more time to break free as they fade further into old age. Is it the case that whatever disposition, obsession, or perversion you develop and attach to your thoughts during the final stages of your life will ultimately have an influence on the kind of reality you enter into after this one has expired? When viewing the lives of our ancestors, much of what they created and strived for has faded, along with the memories of their cultures and civilizations. Consequently, one may ask, what was the true underlying purpose of their living experience, if it was not to interact with one another in a manner favorable to their overall spiritual and conscious development? With all this considered, it is still a beautiful world, and it is up to all of us to find our true place within it. Be yourself, strive to be happy, and love one another. We are spirits descended into matter for a purpose. Understanding this is the meaning of the term having life and having it more abundantly. This does not mean accumulation of products. It means doing that which is true. Truth is eternal. It cannot alter. Only truth will make you free. Alan Watt, Cutting Through, Volume 1.